Convening Staff Hearing Officer meeting of February 5th, 2025. We will begin with preliminary matters. Ms. Gu, do we have any requests for continuances, withdrawals, postponements, or addition of ex-agenda items?
No, at this time, we do not have any continuance, withdrawals, postponements, or ex-agenda items. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Moving on to item 1B1, an announcement for 42 Vista Del Mar. And I'll read through this. Pursuant to Santa Barbara Municipal Code Section 2844110, when a proposed development involves the addition of an accessory dwelling unit to an existing single-family residence, the application shall be reviewed by the staff hearing officer without a public hearing in accordance with the state government code. The staff hearing officer shall not issue a decision on the application until at least 10 calendar days after the notice has been provided to the public. Staff hearing officer may receive and consider written comments from the public, but without a public hearing. The announced decision will be the final action of the city. Ms. Good, did we receive any correspondence regarding this item? I didn't see any.
No, we did not receive any written public comment or anything submitted via email.
Very good. And the standard 10-day notice went out for the project. And with regard to the project, this is 42 Vista Del Mar. This is in the city's coastal zone. The permit was filed May 25th, 2024. And the project involves a proposal for a new 400 square foot single story detached accessory dwelling unit. The subject parcel has about a 1,200 square foot single story single unit residence with an attached 2-car garage proposed to remain. The discretionary application pertaining to this item is again a coastal development permit in the non-appealable jurisdiction of the coastal zone. I reviewed the staff report, visited the site, and this project is approved subject to the staff recommended conditions in the staff report and based on the findings recommended by staff in the staff report. It's also exempt from further environmental review under section 15303 of the CEQA guidelines, which allows for construction of a second dwelling unit in a residential zone. Because this is in the non-appealable jurisdiction, this action today is not appealable. So moving on to item 1C, do we have any comments from members of the public pertaining to items not on this agenda? Ms. Goon.
On checking Zoom, I do not see any raised hands for items pertaining not on this agenda, and there's no raised hands in the audience. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll move forward to item 2A, which is 340 East Los Olivos Street. Our staff planner is Holly Garson, who will be presenting on the project, and the representative for the applicant is also here. Ms. Garson, when you're ready, here's the map.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And while Ms. Garson is getting the plans ready, if the applicant could introduce themselves, and you'll have an opportunity to speak after Ms. Garson is finished.
My name is Brooke Van Dyne for Sherry and Associates Architects.
Very good, thank you. And Ms.
Okay.
Garson?
Thank you, Mr. Gullett. Yes, for the record, Holly Garson with Planning and Zoning, and I'll be giving the staff presentation for this item today. We are at 340 East Los Olivos Street, and here's the cover sheet of the plans, just zooming in. We are near the Mission, across from the Rose Garden. It's a corner lot on off of East Los Olivos Street and Laguna Street. Here's the site plan on the screen. Again, East Los Olivos is here, and here's Laguna Street. So the proposal is to permit an as-built 209 square foot addition, landing, HVAC system, relocated water heater, and door and window alterations on the existing 265 square foot detached ADU. So the ADU is here on the site plan. The project also includes a new pool and spa and associated equipment. Here's the new pool. The spa's here, and here's the equipment location. And there's a request for a minor zoning exception, but that's for the Historic Landmarks Commission discretion, and that's to allow an existing overheight hedge to remain near the property lines. That's here. The request, I should mention that there is an existing to remain single-family residence. It's 3-story. There's also a detached garage to remain. And there's an open enforcement case on this lot. So this proposal before you today is phase 1 of the abatement of that. And the applicant has submitted a planning application to abate the remaining enforcement under phase 2. So the request before you today as the staff hearing officer is for a front setback modification along East Los Olivos Street, the primary front setback, to allow an as-built addition to the existing detached accessory dwelling unit to be constructed within the front setback. So you can see here these darker gray areas. It's really this area that's encroaching into the front setback. Here's the front setback line. Excuse me. And then also a front setback modification along Laguna Street is also requested to allow the as-built addition to be constructed within the secondary front setback. So you can see that the ADU is located completely within the secondary front setback. Here's that line again here. And then we also have a pool. The proposed pool is located closer than 15 feet to the front lot line along Laguna. So you can see it's about 8 feet 4 inches to the front lot line, so modification request for that as well. And again, there's an existing fence along the lot line. I'll show you in some photos. And then that hedge is also to remain along the lot lines. The project was reviewed twice by HLC. In September, the commission stated general support for the siting and massing for the modifications required. They did have some directives to the applicant, so the applicant did a great job in taking that into consideration. They came back in December to HLC, and the HLC did provide positive comments. They stated that the design of the ADU was improved. They reiterated support for the modifications aesthetically. They noted that the encroachments would result in a greater buffer from this residence, which is a historic resource. And those meeting minutes are attached to the staff report. Staff's also supportive of the modifications. The as-built addition to the ADU we feel is an appropriate improvement for the lot. It increases livability of a small unit. It's pretty minor, and it does not add significant size, bulk, or scale of the development on site. It is a 1-story. It's about 11 feet in height. You really can't, see it from the public right away, especially given the fence again and the hedge. And the pool, we also feel, is an appropriate improvement for the lot. It's also not visible from the public right away. And then just an alternative design consideration, siting it in a different area. It would need to go here. That's closer to the adjacent neighbor's residence. So we feel it's better from a neighborhood standpoint. Let's see. And just again, to reiterate, we are on a corner lot. So we're on Laguna and East Los Olivos, subject to 2 front setbacks. So that does provide some constraints for this lot. And just quickly going to, here's the existing ADU floor plan. And then below is the proposed. So still just remaining a 1-bedroom, small living area, kitchen, bathroom. The essentials. And then we have some existing elevations of the ADU. And then again, the proposed elevations, which have now received positive support from the HLC. And then just to close with a few site photos. Here's the residence as viewed from East Los Olivos Street. So again, noting the hedging, mature landscape, house, garage. That's a view across the street. So here, the ADU is beyond this area. The pool, again, is sort of in this location, proposed beyond this area. That's across the street. More neighborhood photos. So, one more. Here you can see that as-built addition area. So this concludes my presentation, and I am available for questions if needed. Thank you. I'll hand it over to the applicant now. Would you like to sit here? Okay.
I actually don't have anything to add to that. She covered everything in good detail, so I don't have anything to add unless you have questions.
Very good. I would like a little clarification on the screening of the structure. So it's kind of a unique situation in that there's an existing accessory dwelling unit, and the addition is actually away from the street, but in the two front setbacks. So the structure itself screens the additional encroachment, at least from Laguna Street. And I agree. It may be barely visible from Los Olivos, but it's hardly visible currently. But my question was pertaining to like the hedge. So if HLC doesn't approve of the hedge, is there like a contingency plan for landscaping on the property? And did they indicate whether or not they would?
So we, as she mentioned, we are applying for the MZE to allow for the overhead height allowance, and that hedge has come up in both HLC hearings. HLC is very supportive of that hedge. They don't want it to go anywhere. The owners, they don't want that hedge to go anywhere just because of the privacy issues and with the tourist traffic going to the Mission. So no, we're not proposing any alternatives for that. We're not asking to remove it, but HLC has made it very clear that they want that hedge there and that they're supportive of the overhead, just to give the property owners more privacy, taking into consideration the tourist traffic and the buses and cars constantly parked on their street.
Very good. Thank you for that. Ms. Gu, did we have any public comment for this? I haven't seen any written public comment. Does anyone have their hands raised or speaker slips?
Upon checking Zoom, I do not see any raised hands for speakers, and we did not receive any written or submitted public comment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I am in agreement with HLC's position on these modifications. Although this is one of the closest structures to the Mission and the Mission Park. The hedge screening, because it's a corner lot, there's limited options for amenities, and this modest addition to the accessory dwelling unit does make it a lot more usable as a residence. With that, I approve the two requested modifications and concur with staff's recommended findings for the modifications. This action is appealable to Planning Commission within 10 calendar days of this decision. And with that, I'd close the item. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you both. And we'll move forward to 35 Los Alturas Road. And project planner Ms. Barbara Burkhart is the staff planner for this project. Ms. Burkhart, would you like to bring up plans for this?
Yes, thank you.
project?
Give me one moment.
Been having technical difficulties, so we're both using the same computer today. In the meantime, if the applicant would like to introduce themselves.
Yeah, Kyle Dixon, Windward Design Services.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you for bearing with me. I think I'm going to start, let's see, did you read the project description into the record?
I haven't. I can from the agenda instead of the PowerPoint, though. I'm happy to do that. This project at 35 Los Alturas Road, it's a 6,667 square foot site, currently developed with a 1,629 square foot two-story single unit residence with an attached 537 square foot two-car garage. The proposed project would demolish an existing second level deck and construct a 252 square foot second level addition with a new 58 square foot balcony. As-built work, including planter, site wall, wood fences, entry balcony, and the front setback is included in this subject scope of work. Total of 2,418 square feet of development is 85% of the required floor to lot area ratio.
Thank you so much. So I think I'm going to start by just orienting everyone to the site. I'm going to go to page 4. Oh, here it is. I think this aerial is helpful. You can see the lot line is the rear lot line is back in this area. This is very steep topography to the north and also to the east of the site, which pushes development of the site forward towards Los Alturas Road. The existing development does encroach into the front setback currently, the garage, and it also encroaches on either side into the interior setbacks. So that's existing conditions. There's some photos of the residence as it is. There is some as-built planner work that would also be incorporated into approvals for this project. Let's see, I'm going to go to page 6 of the plans. And I just want to show, this is a site survey. I want to point one thing out about the front property line. This area, this first 20 feet here is Los Alturas Road as we know it. This other 20 feet is not paved as road. This light blue line here is actually the edge of the driveway for the subject site. So the property line is pushed very far into what appears to be the site. So there's a really small front setback or distance between the front property line. So the front setback ends up further into the site. So there's that condition that you might not notice just looking at the site from the street. We can look at page 9. This is a site plan and it shows those setbacks. The front setback is pushed way back here. And then we have some 10-foot interior setbacks. So you can see a lot of the residents already pushed forward into that setback. This pink area here is the area of the proposed addition to the second story. It kind of looks like a third story. This green area here is the proposed deck that would encroach into the eastern interior setback. And there's also eclipsed just the tiniest portion of the addition as well. So that would be wrapped up into the modification request. Let's see, I'll move to page 12 and show you, this is that top level. This is existing bedroom and an existing deck. So that addition would be in this area of the deck. Go to page 16. So this is the proposed level with the addition incorporated into that deck area here, and then the existing deck, and then the new deck would push off into this side area, into that interior setback. And I'm going to show you the elevations that relate. So this is the south elevation looking towards the residence from Los Alturas Road. So you can see that area would be enclosed as the new addition. And then this is the side where it would have you can kind of see this dashed line is the area of the addition. And then there's the deck that encroaches into the interior setback. And I'll show you some renderings too. It gives kind of a better view of that. So you can see up here, this is the area we're concerned with. This is where it encroaches into the front setback and where it encroaches into the interior setback. Staff is supportive of both requests. I think I'll go back to page 4 and just look at the site. If I can do this. Sorry. Okay, so staff is supportive of both encroachments. The front setback encroachment we feel would allow an appropriate improvement on the lot. It's the best solution to, it's most straightforward way to avoid this steep topography to the north, to avoid a further setback encroachment to the east, and avoids new construction over the single-story portion of the house to the west. Similarly, at the east interior setback encroachment, staff is supportive, largely due to the size of this easterly lot. It's a very large site. The development is, I believe, 120 feet northeast of this site. It's nowhere near it, and this area of that lot is very steep. It's unlikely anything would be developed here. So it's kind of a rare situation where we are supportive of this type of encroachment. It's a unique configuration of neighboring sites. It also allows for an appropriate improvement on the lot. It's the most straightforward way, again, to avoid this steep topography at the rear. Further setback encroachment into the front setback, and again, avoiding new construction over the single-story portion, which would look out to this home here, whereas in this case, there's nothing here. Furthermore, the staff report, there's an error. It says it would not align with the interior configuration of the new bedroom space, but it would align. Looking at that floor plan, it's kind of the best place for the deck, and it offers the most privacy for both the subject site and the easterly adjacent site. The project did go before SFDB on a concept review. They were supportive of the modifications in terms of aesthetic appropriateness, and did continue the item here to Staff Hearing Officer. So I think with that, I'll conclude my presentation and hand it over to the applicant.
Very good. Thank you, Ms. Burkhart.
No, I think it was all covered. I have nothing else to add.
Thank you. Ms. Gu, do we have any public comment on this item?
For this particular item, I've checked Zoom. There are no raised hands, and we did not receive any written or emailed correspondence on this item. Thank you.
Thank you. So I visited the site and reviewed the staff report, and am in full agreement with staff's recommended findings for these modifications. It's one of those situations where the topography and the existing development kind of necessitate modifications for any kinds of improvements, and I agree that these are appropriate in this case. So the modifications are approved based on the findings outlined in the staff report dated January 29th, 2025. There are no conditions on these modifications. And like the previous decision, this decision is also appealable to Planning Commission within 10 calendar days. And with that, I'll close this item. Thank you both.
Thank you.
And we'll set up for the final item, which is 616 Sea Ranch. And the staff planner for this project is Kelly Broadison. Ms. Broadison, if you need a minute to set up, that's fine. If the applicant team wants to introduce themselves during this time, please do so.
Bill Wolf with Pacific Architects.
Stacy Fawcett, landscape architect.
Okay, thank you both for being here. Okay, sorry for the delay on this item. While we're downloading the plans, I'll read the project description for this item. This project consists of the demolition of the existing residence and garage and construction of a 4,645 square foot two-story single-unit residence, including a 275 square foot basement storage space, an attached 318 square foot porte-cochere, with an attached 713 square foot garage in the coastal zone non-appealable jurisdiction. The project also includes a new driveway, pool patio, bocce court, jacuzzi, landscape, hardscape improvements, and a new expanded septic system. Over 1,000 cubic yards of grading and over 4,000 square feet of landscape removal is proposed. 18 trees and an oak tree are also proposed for removal to be replaced with 26 trees. The proposed total of 5,357 square feet of development on the 48,351 square foot lot is 106% of the maximum guideline floor to lot area ratio. The discretionary application required for this proposal under purview of Staff Hearing Officer is a coastal development permit to allow this development. Project design approval and final approval by the Single Family Design Board will be required subsequently. And Ms. Broadison, whenever you're ready.
Good morning, Mr. Gullett. Kelly Broadison with Community Development, and I'm here to present this project. And thank you for reading the description. Let's see. So you can see the project is midway between Las Positas and Hope Ranch on the north side of Cliff Drive. You can see from the site plan here that it complies with the setbacks for the RS1A zone. Interesting about this project is that typically in the non-appealable jurisdiction of the coastal zone, which is where this is located, a demolition and a rebuild of an existing residential structure would qualify for a coastal exemption. However, per section 13250 of the California Coastal Commission, what is it called? The coastal regs, the fact that the project requires a new and enlarged septic system triggers a coastal development permit. Otherwise, this project would just be a coastal exemption. Let's see, the project was reviewed by the Design Review Board, Single Family Design Board, and they provided comments, which the applicant responded to on February 12th, 2024, and subsequently on September 23rd. The initial meeting, the board stated that the project was well sited, had appropriate heights, and works well with the topography on the site. And they did request an FAR study because it is a fairly large house, but the FAR is only a guideline on this site because of the lot size is greater than 15,000 square feet. And then when the project returned for a second review, the board stated their support for the one-story concept because it is only a one-story project, it's not 2 stories. And they stated that the massing and materials and the proposed landscaping were satisfactory for the project and continued it to the staff hearing officer for discretionary review. Let me pull up the elevations here so we can look at that a little bit. It is an interior lot, so it doesn't face on a street, so it has all neighbors surrounding it and no street-facing frontages. These are the floor plans. Let's see. However, because the project does comply with the setbacks, I don't think there's too many concerns with the floor plans. Let's see. Oh, here's the elevations. See, let's see. Waiting for it to download. Yes. In the meantime, I would like to just point out that the project was reviewed for consistency with the California Coastal Act and the local coastal plan, and there's some fairly detailed analysis in the staff report. The project is in the Arroyo Borough component of the land use plan, and which stretches from, as I stated, the westerly boundary of the city adjacent to Hope Ranch and east to Arroyo Borough and Las Positas. The project, the LUP states that its development in this area is typically constrained by steep slopes, coastal bluffs, or creeks. Most new development is anticipated to be remodels and additions or single-unit homes. The major coastal issues in this area would be expansions that would impact scenic views. However, infill residentials houses rarely have raised coastal resource protection issues. This project is also not located along a creek or a sensitive habitat. It's not close to Arroyo Beach Park, so it won't have any impacts to views. Here you can see that the project is a one-story. Let's see how I can zoom in here for the TV. I am not familiar with this. How to zoom in on here? I don't know if it's.
You could maybe right click.
Oh, there's a little plus, I think, that maybe.
Oh, there it is. Okay, it's different than one. So this is the north elevation. You can see it's a one-story. And then, let's see if we go down. Awkward. Anyways. So it does have, the project, as you stated, does have a new garage and a carport. It does have a fairly small porte-cochere, 318 square feet. And the landscape architect is here to speak further on this, but the project will include the removal of 18 trees and an oak tree, but they will be replaced by 26 trees, and there will be approximately 1,000 cubic yards of grading. So in conclusion, staff would like to state that the staff hearing officer, we recommend that the staff hearing officer approve the coastal development permit and find that the project is exempt from further environmental review under section 15301 and 15303 of the guidelines, and make the findings in the staff report and subject to the conditions of approval in Exhibit A of the staff report. I can turn it over to the applicant, Bill Wolf, and also the landscape architect, Stacy Fawcett, is here.
Okay, yeah, very good. Thank you very much. Yeah, Mr. Wolf, if you'd like to add.
Yeah, thank you, Kelly, for the wonderful presentation and your help through the process. Appreciate it. Thank you, Dan. Just a couple of items. First of all, we're a single-story house. The only reason that we've had to label it as two-story is because we have a basement that's a full height. It is all subterranean. There's a very small portion of it that's actually exposed to the face, really just a door to get access in, and that's for mechanical equipment only. There's no living space down there. So that's the confusion that we see in some of the letters that we received. I'll let Stacy address some of the neighbors' concerns about fencing and screening. One of the letters that we received too was from a neighbor that's way up on Sea Ranch. I'm not sure that they saw the plans. We did get the HOA approval from the Homeowners Association up there in Campanile Hill. So we have that letter. I've submitted it into the records. And I think these folks just weren't aware of what was going on there. And secondly, the neighbor to the west, Suzanne van Drol. We've had many discussions with her and have been working with her on screening and landscaping and fencing, and I'll let Stacy address some of those things.
Yeah, very good. Just since you brought it up, just the letter from Francis A. Kennett, who is a resident at 737 Sea Ranch, which is above and across the street. They were concerned about view blockage with this home. Looking at the plans, the proposed house 22 feet, and with the topography shown on the plans, 80 plus feet of topography above the house before you even get to the road. So I'd just like to hear your opinion on the possibility of
I
view
don't think
obstruction
there's
from
any
that property.
possible way that they'll see even the house. I'm not sure what the landscaping is from that vantage point, but they are, as you say, a plus 80 feet, maybe more, above our roof line. And as I mentioned too, we had story poles up originally for an ADU that we were proposing. Nobody saw them, nobody commented on them, and that was done for the HOA purposes. The HOA approved it. We ended up removing that. That was the tallest element we had, so that's even been removed, and now I don't think it's possible that they could see it at all.
Okay, thank you very much for that. And if you'd like to speak to the landscaping changes and the effects on the other mentioned neighbor.
Sure. In regards to that, I think it's on. In regards to the neighbor above, there's also an existing house in between those properties and a row of large trees. So I don't know that they will ever even know that anything's happening down there.
Thank you.
Regarding that house to the west, I'm actually working with that particular neighbor as well on her landscape, and I feel very confident that, there's an existing 10 to 12 foot xylosma hedge currently there that's mature and established. We've already talked about replacing the shared fence line with a chain link fence, so if that becomes a solid fence, so be it. But we're working together with her closely on making sure that privacy is maintained. I think both parties want that privacy, and again, I think there's the misunderstanding of a two-story house, but the new house views are the same as the existing house views, so it's not going to change in that sense. So.
Okay, yeah, thank you for adding that. And these issues are generally outside of the city's realm. We provide good neighbor guidelines. Luckily, we have mostly good neighbors in Santa Barbara that work together, and it's great to hear that sounds like it's the case here.
Yeah.
Like for this decision today, like regarding views, like we don't protect private views. We do protect some public views, but those are fairly few and far between. Protecting private views is close to impossible for the city, but our rules also don't ask us to do that. And then privacy between neighbors is best solved between neighbors. The Single Family Design Board is also very good at facilitating those conversations and coming up with ideas and solutions to make things better for neighbors. So thank you for all of that. So we did receive one other letter from the neighbor at 525 Calle Las Caleras, who are fully supportive of this project and proposal. And that's all the written correspondence that we've received. Ms. Gu, has anything else come in, and does anyone have their hand up or have submitted a speaker slip on this item?
Okay, on this particular item, I'm checking Zoom and there are no raised hands, and I have not received any speaker slips on this item. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Thank you for the very comprehensive plan set. The rendering is very helpful as well. And for the well-written staff report. I agree with staff's recommendation and can make the findings outlined in the staff report, subject to the conditions of approval in Exhibit A of the staff report. Like the other projects, this decision is appealable to the Planning Commission. I have information on that and the slide deck. So an appeal would need to be filed with staff within 10 calendar days of this decision. Going back to that slide. Can you press the back button, maybe? Thank you. If you want further information on how to appeal, please contact planning staff at 805-564-5578. They, again, may be filed in person at 630 Garden Street or in writing via email at this address. And if appeals and associated fees postmarked after the 10th calendar day will not be accepted. So with that, I'll close this item and adjourn this meeting. Thank you all.
Thank you.